comments back up. Okay. Hey, everybody. Oh, we're here. Wow. Wow. Okay. So, we're doing Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, season 2, part 2. And of course, I have the amazing SaraJane Warner on tonight.
Hi, you guys. Thanks for having me again.
My sweet
I did
friend.
get out.
And we're going to be, if you haven't seen the first one, we did an amazing one last week as well for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, part 1, season 2, part 1. And so go and watch that in the live tab. You could see it if you want to catch up, because we always plan different tea for different lives. So, I hate repetition. I have a short attention span. So I try to do that for myself too, so I don't hate my own content.
You're so funny.
But SaraJane, and I'm going to quickly tell SaraJane about what went down tonight on the show, a quick recap of the highlights, because SaraJane couldn't get it, okay? And you guys probably know, and SaraJane, I have something to tell you after I dump this quick 5-minute recap on you.
Wait, me? You have something to tell me?
Yeah, I want to let you know that you were mentioned in the reunion tonight.
What? No.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I'm kind of nervous. I'm like sweating.
You should be sweating. Is that a Meredith Mark jacket?
This is a Meredith Marks jacket.
Are you serious? Show me it.
Oh gosh, okay. I'm wearing sweatpants, but I'll kind of sit up so you guys.
Don't worry. Oh my God. Let me see.
Open it. It has like this faux fur through the entire thing, through the arms and everything.
Oh my God.
So freaking warm, and it's darling. It also comes in a lot of other colors.
Okay. Well, I don't normally allow Meredith Marks the benefit of a promotion, but I love that jacket so much.
Honestly, when I saw this, I was like, I have to have that. And I felt like the price point, it's very high quality. And I felt like the price point was actually like pretty reasonable.
What is the price?
I think it was $300.
Oh my gosh.
So for the quality, so and the whole thing is lined with this like amazing, like
pink stuff.
Yummy faux fur. It's like, oh, it's so soft.
Well, tell Meredith I love it. Okay, for me.
I'm gonna let her know.
Yeah, please do, because I'm not a big fan of her outfit. Is it true that Brooks designed her outfit for the reunion? I want to.
It was actually collaboration with somebody else, with Brooks and somebody else. So yes, he part designed it. It's funny because if you without me seeing the outfit, if you were like, what do you think Meredith is going to wear to the reunion? I could have guessed that exact same thing. I'd be like some sort of flare pant with a blazer.
Well, my aunt and I were watching and she was like, oh my God, I really don't like that outfit. And then I was like, well, I think her son is going and he's learning design and she's giving him opportunities to try. And then my aunt felt terrible. And she's like, now that I know it's her son who's using it as a platform to just try stuff as a new designer. She was like, I take it all back. It's great. I love the outfit.
It's not my favorite look of hers, although I love the fact that she trusts her son and that he's creative. I thought it was a very creative outfit.
Well, listen, if my son drew a pancake and told me to wear it, I'd be like, I'd wear that to the reunion.
You're going to do it.
You're your kid.
Exactly. Real quick, before we go any further, and I hear this news of what was said about me, I'm sweating still.
You should. It was the shit starter, or what does she call herself? The pot stirrer.
Pot stirrer. Oh, geez. Whitney?
It was Whitney, yeah.
I think I know what she probably said. But okay, what was your favorite look?
Okay.
We didn't talk about this last week.
Okay, so I really want to be honest with you. And I
want you to be honest with me. That's all I want.
I agree with the fans in that it was the worst reunion looks I have ever seen, ever, on any franchise. I was super, I didn't like the color schematic. Yeah, I thought it was awful, and it was like prom night, it seemed like a prom, or a wedding or something.
Didn't vibe.
Yeah. And none of them were high fashion to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like really wanting something high fashion, and Jen Shaw's outfit like matched that villain in the Disney movie, and there was like a ton of memes. I think Meredith was compared to like a Muppet, and like Whitney was like, I don't know, like like 1983 Christmas Barbie. Jenny was an ice skater. These are the memes. Like I'm just trying to remember them all. And who am I missing?
Heather.
Oh, and Heather was like in a wedding dress or something. It was like a wedding outfit.
And then Lisa.
Oh, Lisa, I think what was her thing? Like
it was that purple,
like a disco look. Yeah, like she was still riding that 80s vibe from her.
I thought the dress, I actually liked Whitney's probably woo.
Thanks, Mindy.
I thought that Whitney's dress, I didn't like the one-handed sleeve, but I thought hers probably was my favorite. But I actually thought that Lisa's hair, I thought she looked beautiful.
Lisa's hair, yeah.
Lisa's hair always looks really good.
Yeah,
she has that like sleek.
And she cuts it like the Jennifer Aniston cut.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it wasn't none of them like really did it for me.
Yeah, no, it was terrible. Yeah. No, there was definitely like a stylist that had lost his glasses that day. Do they make you guys buy your dresses now, or do you get them?
I am pretty sure they have to buy them.
Yeah.
Nothing's covered. Right. I mean, you pay for everything.
See, we didn't. They gave us our dresses actually. And even though I never did the
reunion,
no, I did do the reunion. What did I do? No, mine was given to me by a stylist, but it wasn't Bravo. So I guess you do have to pay for it, because I had a stylist pull mine.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure a stylist could pull theirs as well.
I was getting confused with that in the beginning of the show, because I did the beginning of the show. Like they did a fake beginning, and like just in case I made it, they'd have it in case
you made it.
Yeah.
Wait, what does
and that one they gave me. That one they had.
What does Beverly Hills? They hold a diamond, right?
Yeah. I got a diamond. They gave it to me. I got one for my season. And it's like in a medicine cabinet somewhere.
Living the dream, Dana.
It's like a paperweight in my bathroom or something. Okay.
But you got it. You got it though. And that's all that matters.
And they also gave me a crystal vase for being on the show. Solid crystal. I mean, it was very grown-up present, I thought.
That is grown-up.
I was like, wow, this is the most thoughtless gift anyone's ever given me. It's like, yeah, like generic, totally.
So freaking funny.
So, okay. So we had, before we get started on my recap quickly to you, so you know what the hell happened, I want to finish up something that we didn't really get to talk too much about on part one. Lisa Barlow, in true Lisa Barlow's form, whispers under her breath something about Heather Gay. I forget what it is, but I guess it's like that time you were arrested or something like that.
She says, do you want me to tell everybody about your DUI?
Okay. So
Heather says something like, Lisa, like I could say a million things about you. And she goes, well, like I could tell people about your DUI.
Wow. So it's
kind of like Heather brings a shovel to the playground and Lisa brings out a shotgun.
I got it. Yeah.
Like I could say things about you. And Heather's like, well, I could tell everybody about your DUI. Like,
so I guess the taboo element to that is that she was in the Mormon church at the time, and you're not supposed to be a drinker in the Mormon church, although you can, right? You can drink.
It's just part of what we believe. We believe we have what's called the word of wisdom. And within that, it's like, you're supposed to not drink like coffee, tea that has like black tea or green tea or white tea, no alcohol and stuff like that. And so apparently this DUI situation happened in 2012, and Heather currently at that point was part of the Mormon faith. There are people that do say they want to go out and drink or whatever. Everybody makes mistakes. Like, nobody is perfect. Everybody does stupid things. And so say she did that in 2012, she could have like totally been like, oh, I feel bad, I'm sorry, whatever, you know. The problem that I have with this whole thing, though, I don't care what Heather does. If she had wanted to drink or whatever, that's her thing. And you know what? Like, maybe she was going through something. I can't be the judge of like, I mean, her marriage obviously was going through something because she got divorced shortly after that. And so she probably was going through something major that like led her to drink or whatever. It also said she had taken like an Adderall or something. I don't know. And like, that was in her system as well. But
okay.
Oh, thank you. I'm happy to be here. Anyway, so the problem that I have with it, though, is Heather has always told Lisa that Lisa wasn't like a good Mormon. She'll always say like, Lisa, you're never a good Mormon, la, 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 la. When Heather saying like, when I was a member of the church, I was so perfect, this and this and this. And Heather has said in the past, like, when I was a member of the church, I was super judgmental, this and this and that. And which is kind of funny because I'm like, part of being a member of the church, you shouldn't be judgmental of other people. Like, I try to not be judgmental at all. So it's funny that she says that she was a perfect Mormon, but then she did that. She was doing that, like going out and drinking. So that's something that kind of ran across my mind. But then again, she was probably like hurting and like in pain of some sort because she probably was having marital problems, and it's not for me to judge. But it is kind of funny how she like labels like Lisa not being the perfect Mormon, but then here she is like she wasn't either. Like, there's no such thing as a perfect Mormon.
Right. And wow, how do you think Heather felt about that coming out and not actually having it said properly, you know, that she could address it on the reunion?
Yeah, so
it was like amplified by the fact that Lisa said it sneakily. Because I see Lisa's doing a lot of sneaky, like, oh, I know, like pretend the cameras aren't rolling when she knows damn well they are.
Oh, there were a few things that were brought up that too.
Mindy had something to tell us. I didn't watch Reunion yet, but I'm going to listen and you two break it down. Great. I'm on it, Mindy. I'm going to do a recap in a minute, you know, cut through the crap with SaraJane.
I didn't watch it either, but I've seen the previews and I've heard enough, but I need the breakdown just as much as anybody. But thanks for being here, Mindy. Anyway, back to what the whole Heather, Lisa DUI situation. Lisa does these things where it's like somebody might be like, well, Lisa, like you have potentially like said things about somebody. And then instead of Lisa just being like, yeah, maybe I have, she like blows up and says things. For instance, like, if you caught it, I saw it on one of the previews of the part 2. It was talking about like something along the lines Lisa brought up, like, oh, I thought it was funny. I saw something that like Meredith and Jen like hooked up at a steakhouse. Did you see that?
No, I didn't say. I did hear that they hooked up, but not at a steakhouse.
So Lisa says this on the reunion, and I think Lisa said it. I think she said it to kind of like get people to talk about it, but she does it in a way to where it's like, oh, it's funny, you know? And like, if you're going to bring it up, you kind of have to own it at that point, you know? And just,
well, it's not funny to Heather to have her a DUI, which is obviously a really awful, you know, thing to do, first of all, in our world, but also, you know, I like Heather. But I mean, I can't imagine that was great for her, you know, because she kind of stands for good things. And I think she was like, oh, great.
I don't think she ever got charged with a DUI, though. I think
good. Okay.
She never was charged with a DUI. She was charged with reckless driving or something.
Well, that's fabulously much better. I'll go with Dukes or Hazard instead of that then. Okay, so
it was kind of messed up that Lisa brought it up when that is absolutely not true. in
And
my
okay. And some fans on here wanted us to talk about Lisa's perspective a little, which was last week. A few people were like, geez, it's like the world is coming for Lisa Barlow. And I like Lisa Barlow. Why isn't anyone talking about how Whitney and Heather are like the pot stirrers, Heather Gay? And, so that was something that somebody said. And I guess, on Lisa's defense, I guess you could say that they're both kind of coming for each other, right? Heather Camp and Lisa Camp.
Yes. So something that I saw brought up, and I thought of this when I saw the reunion last week. It was interesting to me. Heather came so hard in the reunion where she did not do that in season. And as a viewer, you could say she's inconsistent. Why did she come so hard for Lisa at the reunion? And I think that's why people had Lisa's back so hard. They're like, Heather, like you're looking like a mean girl. Like you're saying Lisa looks like she read the teenage magazine or whatever.
Yeah.
Popular mean girl. But Heather was the one that kind of looked like that. I will say this though, in Heather's defense, as somebody on the show, and Dana, I'm sure you can relate to this. As somebody on the show, you film the entire season, and then you are watching it with the entire world, not knowing what other conversations are happening on camera with other people. So something maybe upset Heather that was said in regards to her, or maybe Whitney, who's her friend, or something like that Lisa had done. And then she like got this like built up anger. And then at the reunion, she had just barely, literally the night before the reunion, had seen the last 2 episodes or 3 episodes. And so I think for her, she saw that hot mic moment that Lisa did and like all these things to where she came in probably pretty angry.
Yes. I think you're right. You never know. There's the show dynamics for sure.
Yeah.
And I do get the sense as I'm watching the season that Lisa's struggling to find anyone to support her on the show. Like everybody is kind of going against her. Usually that happens when the person is kind of lying a lot about people's stuff to make the show more interesting. The cast members get upset because that is happening with that cast member, and so they want to all take down that cast member. Well, but to the audience, it looks dark. It looks like a gang up session. It looks like yeah.
And I can see that how it would look like.
Hi, Erica. Thank you. Thank you very much. Erica. Thanks for the super sticker. Okay, sorry. Continue.
But what was I saying? I lost my train of thought.
No, that happens on this thing all the time. Well, it's all right, because that must mean that whatever the hell we were talking about wasn't that interesting.
It must have not been. It was about Heather and Lisa and something.
Oh yeah, the gang.
This is what I was gonna say. I understand how it looks like people are ganging up on Lisa, and that, like, as a viewer, you'd be like, she has nobody there. Like, somebody, come on, like, support her. And I could totally see that. But you kind of have to remember, if every single person kind of moves away from her, where's the problem?
Yeah.
Like, it just happens to be a numbers game at this point.
Well,
like,
you were supposed to, for homework, you were supposed to bring a receipt to show me about Lisa. And I think that you went and looked for that receipt and something happened. Why don't you tell me about that?
Oh, okay. Yes, I was looking for a receipt for you. Dana and I had talked about, I had told her that, and I've actually never really talked about this. You guys are the first people to ever hear this. So Lisa Barlow had DM'd me. Let me pull up the date.
Okay, love it. Let's do this. We're having our own reunion here, guys, all together.
I'm pulling up my...
I actually checked out Watch What Happens Live show tonight, and I'm like, my show's better with you.
It sounds really good.
Just saying.
Okay.
We were practically the whole Real Housewives of Salt Lake City Part 2 reunion has been about people not on the show. Mary, Angie, and you, and then people like, and then alluding to influencers like me and Ron Richards and all the others, Bravo,
Right.
blah, 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 everybody. There's a bunch of them.
It's kind of confusing for the viewer, though. Like, I went back and watched the episode 1 of the reunion, the part 1. And I started thinking, if I did like not really like know these people, I would be confused.
Yeah. Well, it's weird that they do that. In the past, there was like a rule that on reunions, they wouldn't bring up people that weren't present because it would help. Like, first of all, the audience is like, why are these people being brought up? And they can't even defend themselves. Because the whole point of the reunion was to say to the person what you're, what upsets you and have them react to it. So if, all they keep talking about is Mary and, they brought you up tonight and Angie was like a big part of last week's. It's kind of like, I don't understand. It's completely off what they used to always do. It was like a rule. They didn't do it. So I think it's like a weird thing.
It's confusing to people, maybe.
Yeah. And also I realize now for sure, definitely Andy Cohen and Bravo are trying to get deep gossip now to make it storyline for the show and the reunion. Because they're looking at the blinds. I heard from some of the cast members that they're, digging for dirt on people. They're actively looking. I heard that there was rumors that Andy was like watching, all the influencers' feeds and stuff to get like ideas, or not Andy, but his people, Shed or whatever, Shed Media. And that they were dictating a lot of the storylines now.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I could kind of see that. And especially with the way that the reunion is now, it makes sense.
Like they were talking about blinds that if you aren't in our world, you won't know them.
Yeah.
Like I was like, wow, he went way over here.
Yeah.
I'm like, they should have said, everybody, if you're lost on today's reunion, go watch, go in Dishing Drama Dana, go watch NT's Crazy Days and Nights, like
something. Yeah. Because
you know what's happening.
The person who just watches the show and maybe doesn't have Twitter, maybe doesn't have, they're like, what is going on here?
Yeah, what is going on? Exactly. I didn't hear that.
I found the receipt.
Okay. Yes.
You're going to die. This is from October 5th. So what happened was I had posted something on Instagram because I had done a Q&A and everybody was asking me like, in regards to casino night, that whole thing with Angie and Lisa, they're like, are you team Angie or are you team Lisa? I know you're friends with both of them. So what people don't know, people are saying, I've seen this, that I am a longtime friend of Lisa. That is not true. Lisa and I actually met because of the show. We had heard each other's names and maybe had been to an event or two with each other there, but I didn't know her at all. We met and became friends because of the show season 1 with the whole casting. Angie and I have been friends forever. We grew up together. We went to the same high school, like always have been around each other forever. She lives literally like boom, right there, right next to each other. And so of course, I've been much closer to Angie. I know her character. I know so much about Angie and things with Lisa that I have experienced personally and seen through the show. I have learned her true character as well. So in the whole situation with what happened and the receipts that I had seen from Angie led me to believe that Angie was telling the truth. And because she's my friend, obviously I believe her and I support her. So I wrote on Instagram and I said, I am team Angie. And I never even said Lisa's name. I just said, I'm team Angie. I might not even have said that. I just said, listen, I have been friends with Angie forever. I know her true character. I know how she is, and kind of left it as that. Probably 20 minutes later, I'm on Instagram and I get this message from Lisa and she basically says like, leave my name out of this. The only time you should ever mention my name is thanking me for getting you on this show, thanking me for blah, 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 whatever.
Lisa, that sounds like her.
Yeah, she does love to be thanked. And you know what? I will tell you guys right here, and any single person, the reason why I did get on the show was because of Lisa Barlow. So thank you, Lisa Barlow. I owe you everything. Like, that's what she needs, and I'll give her that. Like, I totally will. Thank you, Lisa, for giving me the opportunity, whatever. But she always has to be thanked. So anyway, I was just like,
so okay. So you went to look for the receipts. Did she say anything bad besides that?
And so I said, okay, Lisa, with a laughy face. You can see it right there. And then she writes me a message and just says, by the way, she said this. And I was like, at first I was like, wait, what? That's scary.
Wait, by the way, what?
By the way, you'll always be in the shadows.
The shadow of her. Who?
At first I was like, who's shadow? Like, I'll always be in the shadow. And
Teddy Mellencamp here?
Then I realized what she was saying, and it was a major dig. It was a dig in regards to like, I'll never be on, like, I'll never be her. I'll never be as like popular. It became like a popularity contest. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I really don't care. So all I wrote was like, let me see. Oh, so I get on here. I see the message that I get back on here. She had deleted every single message, because on Instagram you can delete. And so I just said, I saw that before you deleted it, and I took a screenshot. And she writes back and does heart, kissy face. And so it's just like one of those things where she does kind of like, she's done things like that in the past where it's like tries to like think she's like getting me to where it will really hurt. I'm like, yeah, that could technically like really hurt. Like to say you'll always be in the shadows. It's just a mean girl thing, right? To say like you'll never be like on this show. You'll never be like a big part. Just kind of.
Well, you don't know, as a viewer or as an outsider looking in, it's hard to understand why that's so hurtful. But when you really want to be on the show and you're working really hard and you're going through all this crap that Shed Media makes you go through and all these emotional like games, and it's devastating to have someone who obviously has a lot of control on the show, you know,
right, to say that, like, we'll always be in the shadows. And I know last year, like a lot of the reasons why I didn't go further on the show was I think I was kind of like cock blocked from Lisa a little bit, you know what I mean? And, you know, I will say this, like in her defense, and I mean, this kind of like I'm not sticking up for myself, I guess, which is stupid, but like, I understand, like maybe she was just like, you know what? She's going to bring problems like on the show. Like, I don't want her on there, but I feel like she always is the person that's like, I was the one that you need to thank me. You need to thank me. So if you want to be thanked, like if she really wants to be thanked, then like treat people with kindness along the way. That's
her shtick is that she's conceited and that she's proud of it. That's like her shtick.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of playing into her shtick. It's okay because, you know, karma's a bitch. But
and you know what? I walked away from the show. Like I did not.
You did.
Like I don't want to be on this anymore. And part of that too is because in a weird, twisted way, like I did that protecting Lisa in a way, and everybody on the show. I don't want to sit and say crap about them.
Okay. Can I ask you a question that just came up? Do you think that, did she DM you while you were shooting for the show, that stuff that she sent and later deleted?
Was it?
Like, was October, were you shooting at that time? Okay. So it was
airing.
Okay. Because some people were wondering if maybe she did that to try to give you drama to come for her. No.
Okay. This was a dig. And that would be a little bit different. If this was during the show, then I'd be like, oh, she's trying to
help me maybe.
No, this was not when they were filming at all. And And so this was just a deep trying to be a dig to me.
Yeah.
There's also one other thing that she's done. We will have to tell that on the Patreon though, another time though. I do not feel comfortable.
Oh, by the way, SaraJane's part 2 of Dishing Drama, Dana, is on the Patreon today on the podcast. And she goes really deep on some insider stuff that you can't do on YouTube. So you guys should go in there and listen to it.
Wow.
It was a great episode. I love you too. Look who's back.
This is the person from last week.
Yeah. This is my rainforest friend. Okay. So
real quick, can I just say something super fast before we move on? Last week, I did get a lot of feedback from a lot of you people that are watching, which I appreciate so much. But a lot of you felt like I was like attacking Lisa in a way. And I honestly did not feel that way. I think a lot of it comes from things that maybe I can't talk about, or things that have happened that like can't be said yet because maybe it has to do with like other things, if that makes any sense.
But we're going to get into that.
I don't know.
We are going to get into that. So, all right, let me tell you a little of what happened or transpired this evening.
Got my blanket.
That is worth of any interest. Okay. So Lisa comes out and says, I love Jen Shah. Even though it is an incredibly unpopular opinion. And Jen was like, she doesn't, that's not verbatim, but the gist. And Jen Shah's like, why can't you just love me and not have it like bring up the unpopular opinion part? Hold on. Hi, Janie. Oh, yes. SaraJane is awesome, isn't she? Yes, she is. Sweet. And she'll be back next week. So you guys can see her again. We're getting better and better at this. So she says that to Jen, and Jen's like, why can't you just have my back, in general?
Why does I have to come with a disclaimer?
Right. A dig, right? A compliment with a kick in the ass. We used to call that in Beverly.
And that's what I feel like Lisa does a lot. Okay, go on.
Then it came up that Lisa's kids had this event, and some people questioned why Whitney was invited by Lisa, but Jen wasn't, when Lisa obviously could override the kids list very easily. Right. She invited Whitney, I guess. That was next. She said, people questioned why Jenny did not stick up for Lisa since they're supposedly such good friends, and that Jenny didn't come out and when Heather and Whitney implied that Lisa was a manipulative bitch, that Jenny didn't say, no, stop it. She's not. She's my friend. Didn't do any of that. And then people were.
I love your theatrics. If you could just do that. Oh, by the way, everybody, it was Dana's birthday just a few days ago.
That's right. It's my birthday. I'm going to celebrate all my
29 again.
I'm 20. Did you know 25?
25. Did you know 25?
Okay. So then I love you for bringing that up. Thank you, SaraJane. You're so sweet. Okay. The other thing that happened was Lisa, was kind of like, Heather and Whitney are the pot stirrers. I'm not. Everyone's making it out like I am, but it's really them. And can't you see it? Let's see. Then Lisa said, then they had a little conversation about the memorial, and Meredith is still sticking to her story that the memorial was the day before the arrest, and that and Lisa was saying, no, Meredith clearly said that she was stepping out of the memorial when I called her, but they didn't have that on camera. So we were all like, that can't possibly be the case, because obviously the cameras weren't missing anything during that whole, like that was happening. But anyway, that was Lisa's position, which was Meredith said, I'm leaving my dad's memorial to come talk to you. I don't know why anyone would do that, but okay. And then Meredith said, listen, to be honest with you, when Lisa called me, I was in the bathtub in Vail relaxing. I was whispering because I was in the bathtub. I wasn't at my dad's memorial service. But she was like, you vicious bitch for coming for me when I needed your support and love. And she read this very emotional text messages like, I'm so sad. And this was before, you know, I guess Lisa knew that her dad was dying, and she said, I'm really depressed and
this is a text that Meredith had sent to Lisa.
Correct.
So Lisa knew that she was suffering and struggling.
Okay, like this text is like heart-wrenching.
Really emotional.
I've never had anyone write such a very emotional text.
Wow.
Okay, to me, my whole life. Okay. So
yeah,
it was like, wow. And so Lisa purportedly did not call Meredith back during this period of time, and even didn't know that Meredith's dad died. Okay. So she purportedly, Heather said, Lisa called Meredith and said, you know, like, how's your dad doing? And he was dead already. Like, real disconnect. Okay. Yeah. Didn't stick that landing. And then goes to Meredith's house and berates her about her friendship with Jen.
Lisa goes to Meredith's house.
Yes. And starts at Shabbat dinner and starts berating her. Like, why aren't you, forgiving Jen? Lisa's like, why aren't you forgiving Jen? And all this stuff, I guess, happens. And so that's it. Yeah. So Meredith is very upset that Lisa has obviously decided to move the storyline of the show along versus be a friend. Right?
Yeah. That's funny though, because last week on part 1, when Meredith and Jen start getting along and she's like, yeah, we're getting along.
Thank you, all ears.
Thank you.
And then, okay. This is Meredith Mark's jacket. It's $300. You can get it at her store. Normally I get really pissed that Meredith's promoting every 2 seconds on the show, but this jacket is so cute.
It's lined the entire thing with this faux fur. Like,
Meredith, send me a free jacket. That's all.
It's so freaking cute. I bought it at her store in Park City, and
I'm poor now. I can't afford it. So send me one.
Dana needs one. We're going to try to get you one, Dana.
Okay, thanks.
They have it in all different colors.
I love the pink. It's sick.
My favorite.
Okay. So, all right.
What I was saying though, is it's funny how last week Meredith and Jen are like, we're getting along now. And at that point, Lisa was like, oh, now you two are getting along. This is weird. Like, she wasn't supporting that then, but you just said in the reunion, she goes over to her house and is like, why aren't you two making up?
Yeah. Well, I think if I was to read between the lines on that, here's what really happened. You want to hear what I think really happened?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Meredith and Lisa were having trouble in their friendship. So they were kind of like wanting to be like they were before, but not really wanting to be like they were before. And so Meredith reaches out and really tries to get Lisa back on side again with this like really heartfelt, deep message. And Lisa is not sure how she wants to play it because Lisa's first thing is the show over all friendships. So she goes like, I want to do this, but I've got to go in and keep my storyline going, which is basically like Jen and Meredith need to make up and do this whole thing, whatever. So whatever that storyline was, because they're, right, more noise, but that storyline was more important to Lisa than Meredith's dad being sick. So Meredith was like, wow. Yeah. You prioritize the show. Ask her. I guarantee Meredith will tell you.
I guarantee Meredith would say that. I mean, I feel like in conversation,
you love this show so much, you couldn't even let it go for my dad dying.
In all the conversations that Meredith and I have had, gathering all the information, and this is my opinion, but that is how she feels.
Absolutely.
Gathering all the information.
This is my, only could you know if you've been on the show thing with a good friend like I did. Because it happened. That dynamic happens a lot. You're like, are you serious?
Your friendship breaks up.
Because the person you're like reaching out and you're like, okay, can we take a time out on the show? And can I just tell you, like, my dad's dying? or my husband's really leaving me and I don't want to talk about it on the show. I want to like say how I really feel to you, my friend of 10 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And they won't do the timeout.
They're going to use it for their gain as a storyline.
That's right. Or they'll just ignore it and do what they think the producers want. And they don't give a shit if your dad's dying or not. Nope. It's like, and instead of them, like rebelling a little to production, which you can when you're on the show for enough time, Lisa could have taken a stand and said, I'm not doing this tonight with Meredith. I'm going to talk about her dad. I'll mention your stupid Jen thing in a minute, right. But I'm going to do my thing. But it was like, she's so insecure to get the producers love, God love her. I mean, this must mean a lot to Lisa, is what I'm reading in between the lines, very vulnerable, that she's so insecure that she feels like she can't let production down, even at her friend's complete demise. This is the mind game. That's my gut.
I think you're onto something. I think you're right.
All right. So, yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So Mary, they bring up that Mary goes on a rant to Whitney, putting her down for her extensive plastic surgery. Mary basically says, you've had your whole body and face done.
I did see this on the preview, and Whitney's reading the text. I was dying.
And Mary is like, I've never done anything to myself, but that is not, in fact, what the Reddit says from the practitioner that used to belong to Mary's church. She wrote, some practitioner of Mary's church went on Reddit, wrote an essay about what it's like to be in the church and how horrible it is, and also said that Mary went in detail that she went to New York to get plastic surgery, and it was under the guise that she was getting a procedure to do with her health, but in fact, it was actually a cosmetic procedure.
Wow.
And that when Mary came back to the church, she looked unrecognizable because she had changed so many aspects of herself. It not just in like glowing up, which certainly it was, but also
it was a major glow up.
A major glow up, right?
So also, if you see pictures of Mary years before and current Mary, Mary had her whole face and body done. Yeah. I mean, she looks like a completely different person. She is almost kind of unrecognizable a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm unrecognizable. If you saw me 10 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, you'd be like, who is that?
So yeah, no. And I saw that too. And so it was kind of funny that Mary just lied and said all that stuff to Whitney. Okay, so then, although I do have to say something really quick, this is kind of an opinion I have to share. I do feel like it's constant, like Whitney's thing about constantly showing her body off, like in bathing suits with her husband, like playing a mud game, like all this stuff. It's like, I can't tell if she's trying to play into a part.
Okay. I have some details. I have some insider information. I was in Cabo with Whitney for almost a minute. And she was not like that in Cabo. Like, of course, she wears bikinis and like we all do, but she wasn't like flaunting her body at all. It was not like that at all. And so it kind of leads me to believe that either production is making her be this type of like sexy, whatever type of woman. Yeah. Or she wants to be that type of person, like a persona. Do you know what I mean?
So it's because she's doing it gratuitously
in real life.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. That's very important. Thank you very much. Okay. So because it is gratuitous. So it comes off like she's doing that. But it's probably production now that you say that. So
it could probably be production unless she like wants that just for the show. Maybe she, in her mind, she's like, oh, this will carry me on the show. You do things for the show that you generally wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. So she could be doing it, or production is doing it. I'm not sure which one it is, but I will say in Cabo, she was not that way at all.
Okay, got it.
Just a little insider. Boop.
I loved it. I thank you, because it really, it does annoy me. I can't, like, it makes me want to shade her so hard.
Yeah, it's interesting. I will say it as well.
Okay. So, Jenny, it comes clean that Mary has sent bad and mean text message to like every single person except for Jenny. And then Andy makes the joke that she was probably blocked. It comes out that Mare has not spoken with Mary since Jenny threw the glass at the tequila launch of the Crystal line or whatever, Avita Tequila. And so she has not spoken, Meredith, to Mary since then, at least as far as the reunion is concerned. Do you know if she talked to Mary now?
I don't know, but do you remember last week when you told me to ask Meredith about...
Tell Whitney, let her know next time they try to get her naked. Maybe try something different this season.
Yeah.
All right.
I honestly think that she knows that.
Andy Cohen's probably watching this live right now, getting ideas for season 3. You're right. Definitely. I'm just saying. I mean, at this point. Okay, go ahead. So did you have any insight into that?
Okay, so you had asked me, like, you're like, ask Meredith if she why she was siding with Mary. Why she was siding with Mary through the season. Like, watching the episodes, people are like, why is she siding with Mary? So I have talked to Meredith like 2 times since last week. Every single time I've talked to, it's been very, very brief. And it's been like, oh, this and this and this, talking about something else. And I kind of alluded to, I'm like, oh, have you talked to Mary? Like, what's going on with your friendship and stuff? And like, why were you like so committed to her? She didn't weigh into any details. But what I did gather from my own, like, just kind of listening and going back and kind of like recapping through the season, is this was before people really did a deep dive when they were filming a deep dive into Mary's church. So she is like learning this information as the season is going. We see all of this as viewers, and it has already kind of like come to surface. So we think now Meredith still like is totally on board, like team Mary completely. I don't know if that's completely the case. I'm sure they're still great friends and stuff, but Meredith is such a smart lady. I think that she can see what she's doing.
Do you think they're talking?
She did not say that at all. And if they hadn't talked, then I would assume that maybe they have. I mean, although Meredith's pretty good at checking up on people and just kind of seeing how they're doing, maybe they have talked, but I don't know if it is in regards to the show. I think it's just more like a friendlier text probably, and just being like, hey, just checking in to make sure you're doing all right. Like, I know that you're not on the show anymore. You didn't show up to reunion, so you're not here. Just want to make sure that you're okay. That's probably, from my understanding, that's probably why she would text or reach out. But I actually have no idea.
Now, just so you know, you guys, SaraJane and I have our favorites too, but we're trying to be well-rounded for this live because we don't want to like alienate anybody out. You know what I mean? Everybody has an opinion and a favorite and blah, blah for different reasons. So we're just trying to spill the tea here. And
they've all been my favorites at different times. There are times where Lisa has been my favorite. There are times even this last season where Lisa will say something and I'm laughing so hard. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so freaking funny.
This is what I'm talking. See, does anyone feel a little different about Meredith after this season? I don't know. Something made me feel off in the later episodes with Mary. And then you look here and we've got people who are like, same here, love Whitney and Heather. Then we've got, you know, like here's another one. Can't stand bad weather. They're creepily obsessed with Lisa. See? So it's a really important that we are constantly shifting our tea talk So you guys are all getting different viewpoints and perspectives. So it's fun for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, they've all,
this is like the Nightline of Housewives.
This is the Nightline. This is definitely the Nightline.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So
they have been, I think, Dana, you probably feel the same way. They've all kind of been your favorite at different parts.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a few never were my favorites.
Well, and for me, I know all these women in real life. I've had personal experiences that have never been talked about on the show. I've seen their true character and like different things. And so and things that have personally happened to me, personal experiences. So if maybe like I'm not a huge fan of somebody, it's because I have had a very hurtful thing happen to me.
Sure. And if you go away with Heather and Whitney and Angie to Cabo, like you said in part 1 of our live the last week, you know, obviously you're going to see a side to them that you connect, you bond. It's not Hunger Games anymore. It's just like a bunch of friends hanging out. Right. It's a whole different ball game. I think where it gets interesting is seeing, you know, how people use the platform, how they kind of, you know, what they do with it. That's where I kind of go. Like, I like to look and see that part, because that's how I decide if I like somebody or not. But that's just me. It's not like the fans have other things. They like people who are like them, or they like people who are shady all the time. And that's so fun. Or,
well, and every show has to have a villain.
Or, you know, or so she's too slutty, or, you know. Yeah.
And every show has to have a villain. And that villain sometimes does kind of carry the show in a way. And they have to, that's like a really hard like cross to bear, is to being the villain.
What about this? That's a good question. Hi, Andrew. Andrew has a great podcast, everyone. I'm going to go on it. Andrew, what is it that I'll put it up for you?
He asked me and told me. Hi, Andrew.
Yeah. We're friends. So what do you think? Who's driving the narrative, babe?
I
have like 3 different beverages here.
Yeah, I've got my diet.
I'm getting my mood. I've got waters. I've got a soda. I've got.
I think Lisa is driving the narrative a lot
this season.
This season, I think a lot of the drama has been around her. Almost everything that has happened that has like been major drama has been with her. And like we pointed out at the beginning of this live, was all of the women have kind of like shifted, and Lisa is like the lone person now. So now it's just kind of like she is kind of like carrying that narrative, and everybody is a little bit attacking her because of experiences that they've had.
Okay, so this is a question. Thanks, Jim, for the super sticker. It really helps support us. So thank you. Okay, so wasn't Meredith the one asking Cameron all the questions about Mary in the beginning of the season? So what I think it kind of comes out as is that Lisa introduces Meredith to Cameron. Whitney reaches out to Cameron through Angie, because Angie is friends with Cameron Harrington.
Yeah.
And then Meredith is curious about Cameron, but they haven't really disclosed how much interaction Meredith and Cameron actually have. They're like talking, but we don't really know how much. Tonight they alluded that they talked a lot. Like they talked a lot, but we don't really see it.
That Meredith and Cameron had talked a lot.
Yeah. What did you hear, babes?
I think that Meredith and Cameron actually met each other on film at the event of the Foster.
But what about after?
The what?
What about after?
I'm not quite sure. One thing that I do have to point out here real quick, and maybe a lot of you know, but I don't think they've ever, maybe they talked about it on this reunion, but Cameron actually passed away. He's not.
Yeah, okay, stop. Hold that.
Hold that.
All right, we're going to keep going through the recap here because I want to get you up to date.
Okay.
Okay. Mary calls Heather chubby. And everybody, nobody stuck up for Heather except Whitney, who left with Heather. But why didn't they? I agree. I would have, I don't understand why everyone was so worried about Mary. It's very strange. I almost feel like
it is very, very strange. And me personally, if somebody called my friend chubby, I would be like, excuse me? What did you just say? Like, that does not go over well with me at all.
No, and even Heather was like, okay. I'm like, whoa. I
know, like Heather was kind of, I did see it in the preview because there was like a 5-minute long preview of what was going to happen. And I saw it in there. And Heather was kind of like giggling a little bit. And Mary is too dangerous. I mean, it leads you to believe that a little bit because.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, I love this. Look at this one. Hi, love. Ooh,
oh my gosh, what a sweetie.
I talk to you a lot. Don't I? We gossip. You guys are both so beautiful. Love the tea session. Yeah, me too. I just love to cook too. I mean, I really enjoy the behind the scenes crap, as you guys know. All right. So Mary, that's that. Oh, and then they asked, is Mary a cult member? And everybody says, they say, well, the big reason they think that Mary is a cult leader is that the facts, they compare her to her church members, compare her to a facsimile of God. And Whitney says, well, I don't think she thinks she is God, but she definitely wants to make people fear her like God. And then everybody chimes in about Mary and, they kind of dancing a little bit scared, to be honest. They're not coming as hard as I would have thought. And, but then, wow, Heather comes for the Mormon church, which I know is going to upset you, but I'm going to just say it.
Reunion?
Yup. She comes so hard for the Mormon church. She says, because now, Heather obviously really dislikes the Mormon church. Okay.
This is funny though. Before you even say anything, Heather is still currently a member. So if she's saying things, she hates it so bad, why doesn't she go get her name off the church? You can do that.
Where do you put your name on the church? How does that work?
Like your records off the church. You write a letter and you say, I don't want to be affiliated with this anymore. And then they take your names off the records of the church. So like if she hates it so bad, just move on.
Well, let me tell you what she did.
Oh my gosh.
You're going to, you're going to freak out. And so are your little church friends.
I'm literally like
the church friends. Okay. So listen, Bravo wanted to obviously have, Mormon versus non-Mormon go down. So here we go. We're going to bring it on our DecaDish Dana tonight.
Wow.
Heather said Mormons are not supportive to the LGBTQ community. And
that's a lie. That is an absolute lie.
Wait. And she said that she thought being a Mormon was a type of cult.
Another lie.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
That's it. So
did she say anything else?
No, but she said it with intensity, or they just cut that out to look like that. They edited, so they caught her right as she was saying, because she might have been talking about it and like Mormon, and then Mormons are cults, and they cut.
Yeah, I know how they edit too. Okay, so something I will say before I get upset with Heather, I do know that production has pushed her in a way to create this narrative that she does hate the church. Heather is a people pleaser, and I think she feels like she has to just do what they say. And so she goes forward with it. I've
heard that. I've heard that she's been pushed in that storyline.
I mean, it makes sense just by we wouldn't even never even like anybody could kind of tell that. It feels like she's kind of been pushed in that narrative. So
there was tea spilled that her siblings spilled.
Yeah, I saw that. Yep,
right.
Exactly.
So that's where that rumor comes from, is that them. Her family members. Yeah.
The point I'm trying to make is I do feel like Heather has been pushed to say that. With that being said, though, she said it. And as a member of the church, like that can be very upsetting. the Christ-like thing for me to do would be, you know what? That's her opinion. Whatever. She can say what she wants. But it does upset me. And I think too, Heather, just take your name off the records of the church. If you don't want to be part of it anymore, just take it off. Like, don't be part of it anymore. Stop talking about it. You know,
okay, I have a thing now. This is really important. Okay. And I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but
no, I know. I'm not going to.
Everybody believes in the world that the Mormons are not supportive to the LGBTQ community. Okay. So please tell me, and maybe this is just your church is great and the rest of them aren't. I don't know. But
sorry, I'm not sick. I have like
water.
No, Nick. No, do you like how I yell for him? No, Nick.
I love Nick, by the way. Now let me share this with you. Okay.
There is still not
does not support gay and lesbians. Now, this is not the first person I want you to know that has said that, believes that, or whatever. So you now have to, first of all, you've got to take the feedback back to the Mormon church that your friends there, and you need to let them know that there is a stigma.
Oh, there he is. There's Nick. Nick, I need some water, cutie. Will you get me some water?
I would get you water if you called me like
Dana would. He looks at, go get me water.
Love you, Nick.
Love you, Nick.
So you hear what I'm saying?
Like, yeah, I do.
So there needs to be a feedback loop.
Let me clarify this real quick.
Okay.
Okay. A lot of people get their information of the Mormon church from sources that are not correct. They're disgruntled members like Heather Gay. And so anyway, they could be getting their information from that. I do know that there was a producer in the past that I had spoke with, and he had said something about the church. And I was like, that's not correct. I said, where did you get your information about the church? And he said, from Heather. I was like, oh, well, she's a disgruntled member. Like, of course, when I don't like somebody, like, or something, like, I'm probably not a good source to be getting stuff from. You know what I mean? So, that's one thing. Another thing too is the church has actually donated so much money to the gay and lesbian community. Like, so much money. If they were not in support to that community, why would they donate money? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I will tell you this though, the LDS religion is not the only religion. If you look at the Catholic or any Christian-based religion, doesn't technically,
and this is not an attack on you, your religion, or anything. This is just a conversation.
I know that. Look, do you like being passionate?
I love you, and we're open to all things, and we're just talking about it.
I know we're just talking about it, but see, now I lost my train of thought again.
So basically what you're saying is they donate a lot of money to LGBTQ.
They have donated a lot of money to the LGBTQ community. All Christian-based religions, if you believe in the Bible, if your church studies the Bible and you use the Bible in your religion, you are somewhat going to not be completely on board with gay marriage in a sense. Although for me, that is a religious thing, but I will tell you my personal view. I absolutely 100% love the gay and lesbian community so much. Some of my closest friends are gay and lesbian. I would do anything for them. I would stick my neck on the line for them. But God's law is a little bit different. There's a way for me to be supportive and love them, and maybe not totally agree with it, but I can still be loving and supportive and say, I'm going to be there and show up for every single thing that you do. I'm going to post about you. I'm going to donate to you. I'm going to stop eating at Chick-fil-A if I have to.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I get it now. I now know what's happening. So your perception of support and I think Heather's perception of support are different.
Probably.
And that's really what it comes down to. So I'll leave it there. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you can actually, it's like, I think you can't possibly you know, kind of continue with it and not kind of offend your belief system, but also not offend the LGBTQ
Exactly.
community.
Exactly. So for me, it's like, I love everybody.
But I think we get it. I think we get what that you're both in a way right, but in different ways.
And you know what? You have to go from experiences too. Heather has probably gone through experiences where maybe she feels that way. And I can't take those experiences away from her. And
because I have like a lot of LGBTQ family members. Okay. So that said, and I don't talk about it because that's their business, you know, like, but what I'm saying is to even say like there's any non-acceptance is not supportive. So I get what you're saying totally, but that's where Heather's coming from. And where you're coming from is something that you've been raised in, and that's something too. So I want you to know, like, where it's an open forum. Okay. So now we can move on.
But like, I totally love
I know you do. I know you have a good, you would never hurt someone.
Every single member of the church that I associate with and that I personally know 100% loves them too and donates money to them. I have a lot of family members that are part of that community and I absolutely love them. So,
well, I'll tell you what, I have a few family members that I could spend a little time giving you that other insight. So you can understand what I think there's like a little bridge in your understanding that you didn't make yet. And I think I can help you with that bridge. If you'll let me. And then you'll have an insight and maybe you can take it back to the Mormons and help them understand better. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Because I want everybody to get along. All right.
Me too.
So Cameron had a brain tumor and died. That's where we're going now. And what ends up happening is that there's a huge
brain tumor.
Yeah, it was a brain tumor, and he dies, and that's brought out on the reunion. And that they get in an argument about whether he was on the foster care board or he was not on the foster care board. And so what I guess that was relevant because he wasn't supposed to be at the event or something. If he wasn't.
Lisa said she invited him because he was on the board of foster care.
Okay.
That is not true. He was never on the board of foster care.
So what are we're upset because she invited him with the intention of causing like a shit show for Mary. Is that the deal here?
That's 100% why. She wanted to cause drama between Meredith and Mary, and she wanted Cameron to tell her all this stuff about Mary. And she used like the board of foster care or whatever as kind of like her way to get Cameron there, probably not thinking that anybody is going to find out that he's not a member.
So it was like, that was what that whole nightmare was about. Okay. So, why did they even care? Like, that's just so weird. I don't know. Like, I mean, so obviously Lisa invited him to cause a problem. Like, why is that a mystery? All right. Then the next thing is mortgaged house. Supposedly Lisa said that he mortgaged his house for $300,000 and gave all the money to Mary. It turns out that he only gave $30,000 to Mary. And then they have a discussion of whether they think he had an affair with Mary or not. And they kind of skirt around it. But we all know in the gossip world that he did. And it was when he was in New York, and it was before he was engaged and all that, just to fill in that blank. And he does say that he believes Mary's church is evil and bad, and that, she scares people, and very similar to the Reddit that I have on my YouTube, if you guys want to see that sometime. So then that comes out, and then they do a cute little kids section of the show, which is very nice and happy, and it's cute. And they go through all the kids and they show how awesome the kids are. And then let me just play. This is hilarious. Let me just say that. It is. Well, it is a little, when they fanned her was a bit much, right?
Yeah.
Fanning. I was like, when are we going to see the grapes? You guys like.
Oh, the grapes. Yeah. I was wondering the same thing. I'm like, when are they going to pull out the grapes and she's going to be feed her the grapes?
Yeah, exactly. So then the other thing that happened was Heather's daughter, UCSB, they talk about how, you know, UCSB live vicariously. Heather's living vicariously through her daughter. She has no balance, all this stuff. So that's the thing.
Who was saying that?
I guess Andy was implying that Heather was living vicariously through her daughter, and some of the fans were wondering about balance or something like that. Okay. And then they went on and they talked about Lisa didn't call Meredith. Yeah, that was more about the dad. That was like, we talked about that. Meredith rants. Oh, this was good. Meredith ranting that she said that she was like, I guess Lisa was ranting in the room, and she said that there was no one in the room, but all the fans know there was a producer in the room, and Meredith was upset because she felt the venom of the delivery.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny that Lisa says no one is in the room because you could see him.
Yes, exactly. And then your big moment comes. I'll play it for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. All right. Let's do this. Video, camera. Here's this part. This is better than me recapping it anyway. Okay, here we go.
And I don't want to make this worse, but it kind of seemed like some sort of a truth dump for you.
No,
like,
it wasn't.
Do you think she's a whore?
No, I do not. I'm glad you asked it. I think you.
I slept with fewer people than I have fingers, okay? So there you go. New York City is pretty large.
Since I'm a potster, if the shoe fits, wear it.
Wait, can I please stop?
People before this even filmed.
I did not.
Exactly that.
I did not. I did not. I did not.
Hey, Meredith, you should call SaraJane Warner.
I have never talked about your marriage. I have never talked about you before that rant. And I'm sorry it was caught on audio. I called you right after that. I made a lot of comments that I feel sorry for. Are my words awful? Yes. Was I at a breaking point? Absolutely. Was I in the privacy of my room? 100%. I could not take anymore. Do I regret saying it? Yes. Am I sorry? 1,000%.
What do you think?
Wow. Well, my full name, not just a SaraJane. We got a SaraJane Warner.
Oh my God, your last name too. Wow.
Warner. Yeah, my last name.
Oh God.
That's
Okay.
intense.
It is intense.
It is hard because
I left that up like for an hour. Hold on, let me go to another one. Hold on really quick. Hold on. Let's go here. Okay, here we go.
Let's see.
Here. Okay. Bad weather has been planting stuff in Lisa's head about Meredith for months, and she lost it. That's it. Okay, so that was about that. So what do you think about you being called up by, I mean, what was that about?
So if I heard it correctly, it sounded like they were talking. Lisa was saying something along the lines like, I've never said anything bad about you in the past. That was the first time I've ever said anything. And Whitney says, Meredith, I think you need to call SaraJane Warner. And I think what she's referring to, possibly, if I can like think correctly, and I have to be careful with what I say too, because some of this
could be in future seasons.
Possibly, yes. And I have to be very, very careful. But there have been things that Lisa has said in the past to everybody that was there, you know, about every single person. And she said it when she was friends with them. She's probably said things about me. She said things about Whitney when they were friends, about Heather, and every single person. Here's an example. One time I was talking to Lisa on the phone. Jen and I had just barely met, but I didn't really know Jen well. And it's when I got casted for last year. I was talking to Lisa and she's like, oh my gosh, you're going to love Jen Shaw. You're going to love her so much. She's amazing. She goes, but I do want you to know she's a compulsive liar. So it kind of comes with it's a backhanded compliment in a way, right?
So do you think she's going around saying that Meredith might be, I mean, obviously I'm not going to ask you what she said to you because it could be on a future season, but do you think that Lisa's been implying to cast members that Meredith is not just slept with the 5 fingers or her 10 fingers or whatever? She says that on the reunion.
I don't know what she has said to other people on the cast, but I'm pretty sure that she has alluded to when friends with Meredith, maybe okay. So for instance, it was brought up in season 1 that Meredith and Seth were separated and they were both seeing other people at that time or whatever, And so at that point, she might've been maybe she's doing this, maybe she's doing that. And so maybe she alluded to that to other cast members. I don't know. So,
well, it sounds like to me that somehow Lisa thinks she's a slut.
but she did seem very apologetic. She's like, I'm so sorry. I wish I could take it back. I wish I could take it back. There have been things that I have said before and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I wish I could take it back. The difference is, right? The difference is when you're on a cast trip, you have to know that every single part of that house is going to be recorded, camera here, microphone here. Every producer is going to be mic'd, even if you're not. So it's going to come through their mic. And so you have to know you cannot say anything that you do not want out. So if she's going to say stuff like that, she had to have known that that was going to be put out there.
Well, Whitney seems to think that Lisa's the slut secretly. Have you heard that? I have.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that in recent, I don't know if that's true. I have no idea.
That's what I think she was implying in the reunion.
It does. I mean, I have no idea. But
I love it. I'm reading all the comments.
Yeah,
reading the comments at the same time. All right. So listen, SaraJane, congratulations for making it on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, season 2, without even trying. Part 2. You did so good. All right.
Honestly, my full name mention means everything. I'd like to thank Lisa Barlow. She needs the thank you.
Oh my God. Okay. So now we're going to move on. And I want to say, I really appreciate, your front and center on all of your thoughts. It's really, really important. And I just want to say that I really appreciate it. It's easy to be the type, just trying to make people like you and just talk I'm going to say things that make everybody like me. And then it's something else to just, go on a journey as a person and be you and figure out what works and what doesn't and be
and
really
already people are I know not everybody's gonna like what I say and accept what I say. I hope I can be somewhat diplomatic enough to where I hit a point that everybody can agree with or something, but and yay for SaraJane. Thank you.
No, because religion is a very sensitive topic, and so is the things that religion has a tendency to comment on, and not everybody understands everything. And so anyway, after the show tonight, I'm going to explain something that's going to really help you in the future with how to
bridge.
That bridge we were talking about earlier. It's going to change your world. It's going to change your life. Okay. Yeah. All right, love bug. All right, we'll continue now. Okay, so Heather, are you okay? So here we go. Heather, are you sorry or are you? Lisa says, Heather, are you really sorry at the crap you basically are saying, or are you? Oh no, Heather says to Lisa, sorry. One of these bitches said it.
Somebody said it.
Said, are you sorry or are you sorry you got caught? Heather says to Lisa. I guess about being the starting everybody's drama. And
probably the hot mic moment too.
Yes, that's
she's
right.
Probably referring to that.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a really good question that Heather brought up. Like, are you sorry or are you sorry you got caught? Because there's a lot that Lisa probably has said in the past that nobody might ever find out that it was her. So she's not going to be sorry. I felt like her apology, from what I just heard on that, and like from what I had read, it seemed somewhat sincere. I think she does feel bad that she did that. And I think she feels bad for her own self in a way, because she's like, crap, now that I have said that about you, that just gave you all the reason to say things about me. Do you know what I mean? So she's probably like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, because she knows that now that Meredith could go and say whatever she wanted about Lisa, and there's no boundaries anymore. Like,
what do you think? Yeah, what was that all about? Meredith said she has receipts on everybody. So like she was implying she knows who everybody slept with, and I don't know what else she knows.
It sounds like that, but.
And why isn't Meredith just calling me and telling me it all? No, I'm just kidding.
She should. That was a joke. Meredith will, in my conversations with Meredith, I'm always like, oh, what do you think about this, that, and that? She will not say anything unless she has 100% proof. And I think it's the lawyer in her. She needs to like build a case, and then she's willing to like give that information. It's not like, oh, hearsay. I heard this, I heard that, whatever.
Well, she said that tonight. She said some rumors have more evidence than others.
It's true. And it is very true. But I do think, going back to what Heather said, like, do you feel bad or do you feel bad you got caught? I think it's a combination of both. I think it's a combination. I think she feels bad about what she said. It's never a good feeling to say stuff like that at all. But I do think she's looking at it in her way a little bit like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad that I said that, because now I've been caught and Meredith can say anything about me. And I just kind of have to be like, okay, there's your freebie, you know?
Well, I feel like this season is really like so much drama has happened. Like Salt Lake City has actually gone to all the worst taboos right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Like, I'm like, okay, in our seasons, we'd be like, oh my God, like, do you dare bring up the cheating? Or, oh my God, do you dare bring up the whatever it was, you know? And I feel like in this season, it's like, what don't you bring up? Like cheating, sister wives, prejudice, churches, religion, cults, indictments, criminals, shit, fraudsters. I'm like, wow. I mean, at this point, these girls can, go like, where are they going with this even?
They
like, desensitized by next season.
It makes me wonder too. Like, I know these women, and I know like collectively they are friends, but it makes me think too, you don't care about these women. If you're saying stuff like that, you're not really friends. I don't know. I wouldn't say stuff like that about my good friends.
Well, I don't know. It's a very strange dynamic, this show. I would have so much anxiety on that franchise now. It's like New Jersey. I don't know if you ever watched New Jersey, but I saw something last week that really freaked me out.
What was it?
Well, what it was that they had a scene where they were having a party. It's Jennifer Aydin's like fake beach house. I'm sure it isn't a real beach house, but whatever. They depict it as it.
As hers.
Yeah. And they're there. And there's a fight that kind of breaks out between Melissa and Jennifer Aydin. And what I was shocked to see were there were two big bouncers at this party, which means Bravo out of New Jersey has hired bouncers to be on group events.
Interesting. I wonder why.
Like, if I was on a show in Beverly Hills and they had bouncers at the group event, I'd be like, okay, what is, do you guys know something I don't know? Like, that's not normal.
Yeah.
That's not typical. it's almost like they've had like there's threats they're aware of, or there's someone on the show they're not sure about who's in the mix. And like, but I mean, that was really shocking for me to see that. And then when Jennifer and Melissa get in a physical altercation, which I guess is the one thing that Salt Lake City hasn't done yet. But they
kind of on the Sprinter van, but then the producer comes in and pulls Jen Shaw away.
Yeah, the producer. Yeah, but notice there's no bouncer. It's a producer.
No bouncer.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So like, it was so crazy because I'm thinking to myself, I think like they're really genuinely scared about someone on that show and they're not saying it. But that's like, how do you say you're scared about a cast member without saying you're scared about a cast member?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
So what do you think? What is your speculation? And then I'll ask if anybody has any questions. What is your speculation for next week? Like, what do you think is going to happen? And feel free, by the way, if after you watch the show, you know, you have some comments next week to bring up to me, make sure you take notes.
Take notes. I will take notes.
So let me know. What do you think? Do you have any speculation for next week?
So for me, I mean, okay, so I saw the teaser where Lisa Barlow like walks out and leaves and she's like, I'm done with this or whatever. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like something is going to lead up to that. I think a lot of it too I think they'll probably go into more detail about Lisa and Meredith and their dynamic. Are they still friends? Are they going to make up? Are they going to hate each other? Like, I think that will be part of it too. Was anything said about Jenny tonight?
Nothing. They're not going to talk about Jenny. That's the one thing that they're like not doing.
They're not even like putting her in.
They let Heather say the cult and the this, and they let everybody say all this other crap, indictment, criminal, but they are not going there with the Jenny thing.
Interesting. So, yeah, I'm guessing that a lot of it will probably have to do with the dynamic with Lisa and the women still. I think that
I was like, how do you make a whole episode about it though still? Like, I mean, I feel like we kind of went through it really.
I know. There must be more because Lisa gets, and the reason why I say that is Lisa
gets-
the
husbands.
The husbands. You're right.
The husbands. I mean, they're going to ask if Coach Shaw cheats on Jen Shaw and if Jen Shaw cheats on Coach Shaw.
That's going to be crazy. I'm interested to see more about Jen Shaw. Oh, did they ask any questions about Jen Shaw with her case?
No, they're doing that next week.
So that's
going to be the next week.
That will be huge.
Big next week. The criminal case. Andy's going to turn up the heat.
And he's going to turn the heat up and he's going to put her feet to the fire and she's going to have to, you know.
Yeah, he's going to do that. So we've got that. We've got the boys. They're going to get into cheating. There's cheating rumors on almost all the guys really, like except for Justin. I think Justin's the only one who doesn't have cheating rumors.
Interesting.
Yeah. Of the group.
So and then obviously like that, I think the Jen Shaw stuff will be huge. I think a lot of people will tune in next week because they want to know like what Andy Cohen asks her those questions, kind of like on Beverly Hills when Andy asked Erica James about all of those charges against her. Like that was big, you know? So we need Andy to do that to Jen. But,
well, and you know that her thing got moved to July.
Yes.
Oh, that's really nice. Oh,
July. Great show, you lady. Oh, thank you.
What is it? Great show you ladies have out on, and keep doing lives. Love this after show. I will say it's Dana's bits on the side.
On the side. Dana's best.
I'm a nut job. Listen, you know what? It's like being sane is really overrated. Let's just say it. You know, I went to New York.
Just barely.
Yeah, I went to New York for 3 days and I went and I'm going to be dropping on my YouTube. Like I did these lives on IG. I never do it. And I was like, I'm just going to party with everybody.
I kept trying to tune into them last night. Like, it was like,
did you get to go in or no?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, so I had so much fun doing them, but then I took them down because I was like, wow, these are really cringe. Then I was like, you know what? I'm going to put them back up on YouTube. And I'm like, if I'm going to put them up on cringe, I'm definitely monetizing them. If I'm going to look like a total loser, I am making money off that shit.
Oh my gosh, you're so freaking funny. No, that I
Has there
can't
been
relate
anything
to
fun in Salt Lake City happening?
anything fun in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
We had a major snowstorm yesterday. We
Okay.
got lots of snow coming in. So lots of people are going to be skiing this week. I think we have more snow in the forecast this week as well. So lots of people are going to be hitting up the slopes.
Is there any events coming up or anything like that? Like,
honestly, no. Like,
really?
no, there's nothing really. Oh, Justin Bieber's coming in town. Justin Bieber concert. I think it's next week, I believe. So that will be, I mean, that's huge. That's life-changing. So
well, I want to know, like,
firsthand one time when he came in concert here, I think it was 2012. It was for the Believe tour. I was front row and I touched his hand.
He's so hot.
He's such a cutie. He's
really hot. I don't care what anyone says.
Oh, I agree with you.
That's where I draw the line. But he is weird. He's got some weird things happening with him too. But
Justin,
yeah. But he seems neat anyway. But I mean, I've heard people talk about him and they say he's like Lady Gaga. He's so talented. Like, say what you want about his weird things. He plays he skateboards better than anyone else. He's like a gymnast.
He plays hockey better than anyone else.
Yeah, he's like, everything he does is supposed to be like a prodigy.
Yeah, I've heard that same thing.
Yeah. But I guess I was thinking, now that I've done New York, I'm about to do like a few other little trips, but I was thinking maybe I would come out.
I want you to. It'd be so fun. I'd take you skiing.
I was going to say we could have a really fun time. I mean, I would just blow in for like 2 days, but I was like,
that's perfect. We could do a lot in 2 days.
Okay. So
the whole thing out. We could ski, we could hit up all the fun restaurants.
When is the Food and Wine Festival?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay, we've got to look that up. I haven't done
look that up for you. That might be in the summer.
Yeah, because I've got like a bunch of trips coming up because I'm on a journey. I'm having a midlife crisis and I'm like on a Forrest Gump jog right now and I'm like on a journey. I do journeys, people will tell you. And
I love a journey.
And so I am. And so
we need Dana's presence here in Utah.
I feel like I need to do that. I want to come. I think we would have so much
fun. Oh my gosh, we would have so much fun.
We would be so mischievous.
We could go to Park City Main Street. Oh, we'd be so mischievous.
Can you imagine? For fun, I want to disguise myself and do like stuff that I'm sure I'm not I know that there are people there that would love to hang out and can't probably because Shed won't let them, but I would love to just like be incognito and sneaky wilky sneaking around Salt Lake City.
Oh, it's going to be so fun. Get out, girlfriend.
Let me see what this is. Food and wine before we go.
We need to know the exact date of it.
Yeah, 2022. Okay. This event is held September. Oh, that's too far away. I'm going to the Hamptons in June with David Yontif. He invited me to go to his house.
That would be so fun. I've never been to the Hamptons.
Oh my God. You have to go to the Hamptons. Yeah, no, that's a good... Ridiculous.
I've never been.
And oh my gosh, I have a story. I was I used to go to like P. Diddy, Puff Daddy was called at the times, white parties. And there was this other party, Penny Marshall used to have a sick East Hampton party, and Ted Fields. And I remember one time I was with my girlfriend she was like the heiress of the Mellon Bank family or whatever. She always got into trouble with me. Her name was Ginger. And she and I
That sounds like a name that's going to get in trouble.
Yeah, she's Ginger. Yeah, it was like Muffy, Margaret, Ginger. But anyway, so I'm like so drunk, and I was like, "Don't you feel so free, Ginger?" And she's like, "Yeah." I was probably like, I don't know what else I was doing, but anyway, I was running. I went out and like broke out of like a side back door of like Ted. Was it Ted Fields or Ted Turner? I can't remember, but it was Ted. I think it was Ted Fields. Ted Fields. So I get through the door and I run across the yard, and I'm just aimlessly like in a gown running across the yard, just totally out of my mind. And my friend Ginger's running with me, and we just think we're just having the best time, but we're just running. Yeah. So this is, this is probably why I should be like you and not drink.
Oh my gosh, but you're so funny. Like I die.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, Andrew. I am going to come to the Hamptons. I want to go to the OK Magazine party. I heard that was pretty good.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, there you go. Totally. All right. Well, listen, I guess that's it for tonight. You got anything else you want to add?
Honestly, I'm just excited for next week. I've got to see what Andy says about Jen Shaw's case, and I'm super excited to see that. I'm really interested to see why Lisa stormed out of the reunion. Felt like she did the same thing last year. She did. Remember, she stormed out.
Did she?
She stormed out into her like back dressing room.
It's like the Camille of Salt Lake City.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see
this mic.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that will be really fun. But yeah, I mean, I am really excited to go and watch this episode now because, like she was saying before, I haven't seen it. I've just seen that. Oh yeah, Sundance Al Bar is fun. I'll take you there.
Okay, good. So I will come.
That's
I will come as part of my like June lineup.
Anyway, with the reunion though, excited. I'm excited to watch it. I need to watch it. I need to see Whitney's mouth moving the word SaraJane Warner.
Yes, I want you to know that next week is like my expert, because I was on the Shaw Shocker on Hulu. So I'm like an expert of the Jen Shaw case. So you couldn't be doing part 3 with a better buddy over here.
I cannot wait. And I watched the Shaw Shocker, and I remember this was before we had connected. I knew who you were, but like we hadn't like connected yet. I'm like, that's my girl. That's my girl, Dana Wilkey.
I looked way better in the second Shaw Shocker than the other one. I know. The other one was, very entertaining, though. Housewife and the Hustler was entertaining, really entertaining. But I looked kind of like, I don't know, a giant blueberry. But I to be fair,
it's amazing.
I was coming off COVID. I'd eaten a lot. It was definitely a bad camera angle. I totally on purpose didn't want to do glam because I took the subject matter so seriously. And I was saying to them, like, I don't want to be thought about as a housewife. I want to be
like reporter. You're like, this is like my journalism, like reporter.
That's what I wanted.
I loved it.
Yeah. Cause I was like, I'm not trying to be a housewife. I'm trying to be dishing drama Dana.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to be.
And
so you can stick your little tag under me, but remember, that's what I am. So I'm not going to give you that, like, let Danielle Staub do that. I'm not that anymore. I'm doing something else.
Right.
So then Shaw Shocker, it was like, on that one, I said, well, now that I've been like the reporter blueberry girl, I could go glam now. And I described it to the producer. I said, you know what I want to be like on this one? Because if they call me, I'm like, hey, on this one, I want to be like this.
Yeah.
So I said to her, I go, you know what I want to be like? Olivia Newton-John in Grace. Where in the beginning, she's like, the
schoolgirl, whatever.
The little blondie, like who's like very prim and proper. And Sandra Dee, right?
Sandra Dee.
And then at the end, she becomes like Grace, like,
with the black
and like cut it up and left. And so I was like, I want that.
Yeah.
I want like Housewife and the Hustler to be Sandra Dee. Sorry. Yeah.
So funny.
No, I know.
But I thought you looked amazing. So Anyway, I'm excited for next week. We are going to have a lot to talk about next week.
Oh my God. Okay, really quick. Does anybody have any questions for surviving this long in this live? Because it was a long one. Before we go, anybody? Because I'm gonna give you one more second to ask. Let's see. La la la. Any questions? This is commentary. Oh, Shaw Shocker was good. Yeah.
Somebody, Shaw Shocker was good. Somebody last week wrote on the thing, they said, Dana, I feel so bad for you. That girl that you were with talked so long. Like,
listen, people, it's a tough world out there. It is tough, huh?
It's hard. You can't please everybody. I'm a talker.
No, you know what? This is okay. You got to own yourself. You got to just own yourself. You do you.
Yeah.
And let the haters hate and love yourself. I'm like feeling it now.
Yep,
And I want everybody, like, what's so important is to just stay open.
Yeah.
You know, and just stay open-minded. That's what
exactly.
You can continue to hear and empathize with other people's viewpoints and learn, because that's everything. I'm learning that on my journey.
One thing that I have learned on my journey is it is okay if people don't agree with you. I learn when when I have different viewpoints. Like I would hate it if I had the same viewpoint as everybody. I'd be like, how do I learn? So it is nice when somebody can come to me and be like, this and this and this. And I'm like, oh, I understand. Okay. Or you know what? I'm sorry if like it made you feel that way, but here's where I stand.
Sure. And that's okay. To you, all of you guys, my 3 drinks, wishing you the rest of your week is epic and beautiful. And you guys have a great time and just, you know, live your best life and slive and all that. That's a Paris Hilton word. All right. Bye, you guys.
Bye, everybody.